guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be teaching you how to make a pumpkin today. So the first thing I did was I just grabbed a 4.25 millimeter hook and just some white acrylic yarn that I got from Walmart. It's just the Walmart brand. The first thing I did was I made a slip knot. Then I single crocheted 25 chains. Now you can crochet as many chains as you want. That's going to determine the height of the pumpkin. After I got those 25 chains done, you skip the first 2 chains and you go into the 3rd chain and you do a half double crochet. You're going to do half double crochet all the way down. You keep repeating that pattern of chaining 2, skipping those, going into the 3rd chain, and doing half double crochet down until you get the width that you want. I decided to do 35 rows, so I got those rows done, and now I'm going to chain them together. So what I do is I chain 1, and then I line them up to make sure that they're going to be together because I don't want to stitch off. I'm going to go through the back loop, and then I'm going to go through the back loop of the other side, and I just slip stitch them together. I keep repeating that until I get to the very end. Okay, I got it done, and you can see that you can't really see where you connected the two. It just kind of seamlessly goes into it. So I turn my work upside down, and this is gonna be the bottom of the pumpkin. What I do is I get my needle and I get some scissors, and I cut some yarn because we're going to be sewing it through to bring it into a circle, essentially. So I make sure I have enough yarn that I can sew it through, but not too much that I have it left over. So if you're a beginner, you definitely want a little extra yarn than what you think, but not too much. So I go ahead and cut it. I stick it through my needle. This is always the hardest part. Then I just weave it in and out. I decided to go to the left side because that's the side that helped me pull it shut. What you can do is weave it in and out a few times and then pull it and see if it'll pull it closed. So I've come to the end. I'm putting the yarn through the loop that we had left over, and then I just pull it closed. So to show you one more time, just in case it didn't record, I was having trouble with my camera, I put the yarn through the loop that was left over, and then I pull it closed. Make sure you get it tight enough. Then you are going to sew the remaining, so I'm going to just cut off this fray end here. I'm going to put the yarn back through my needle, and then I'm going to sew back in and tie it shut. So I pulled it tight and I just sew it back through a few of the stitches, leaving a loop for me to be able to tie it shut. You can go ahead and flip it inside out so you don't see the leftover yarn. But as you can see, I didn't make it tight enough, so I still have like a hole at the bottom. So make sure when you're closing it, close it really tight. But it's an easy fix, and I'll show you how to do that. I flip it back inside out again, and I just take some yarn, the remaining yarn that I had that I didn't cut off, and I re-sew it to close it good and tight, just in case. I don't want any fluff to fall out. So all I do is go through, and I'm just gonna go back and forth sewing it back together. So I'll go down one, and then back one, and then I'll go across and across again. And then I just make sure it's really nice and tight. And I'll do the same thing by making a loop and tying it nice and tight shut. So then I flip it back inside out, and I'm gonna fill it with some fluff that I got from an old pillow. I was gonna throw it away. I was gonna make a new pillow, but then my sewing machine went on the fritz. So I'm just filling it, packing it down nice and tight, making sure it goes side to side because I did fill it before and tried closing it and it just wasn't enough fluff. It was falling in on itself. So make sure that you're getting it nice and tight in there and on each side. You can go ahead and try and close it and see if that works by just scrunching it together like I did. Then we sew the top together just like we do the bottom, yarn through, and we just go in and out, weaving in and out of the top chains. Now we're going to do something different. We're going to actually leave a lot of excess yarn because I'm going to make like rivets, I guess, into the pumpkin to make it look more like a pumpkin. So you're leaving a lot of extra yarn at the end. So with that extra yarn, you're gonna go in between the ribs of your crochet project, and you're gonna go up through the bottom, come out the top, and just pull it tight. And as you can see, once you do that, it makes like a little indentation, so it looks more like a pumpkin. And I'm just gonna do that around the pumpkin just so it looks more like a pumpkin. I'm gonna probably do it in between every 3, maybe, is what I'm doing. See, once it's done, what I do is I sew it back in, the excess yarn, I sew that back into one of the chains at the top. I leave enough excess and I just tie it with the remaining yarn. Now we're gonna make the stem. I just got some brown yarn that I had left over from a project. I make a slip knot, and then I single crochet 5. This is just gonna be determined by how thick your yarn is. So I have really thick yarn, so I just decided to do 5. Then I do a half double crochet down the chain again. Then I chain 2 and I repeat it so I get 3 whole rows of half double crochets. Once that's done, I'm going to slip stitch together just like we did with the pumpkin. Then I'm just going to sew it into the pumpkin. So I make sure I have some excess yarn before I cut off the remaining yarn. And then I sew it in just like I would sew any other project. So I just go into the pumpkin and then I'll go back into the stem. Then I'll go back into the pumpkin. Then back into the stem, and I just keep doing that until it's nice and tight. Once that's done, I just tie off any loose ends, and then I'll stuff the remaining yarn down into the project. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is a really cute project to have, especially during fall time. So if you liked it, go ahead and like and subscribe. Thanks.